Welcome to the Bouguessa Voice. This is Faiza Bouguessa, and today I'm welcoming Myrna Ayad, cultural strategist and editor, and former director of Art Dubai and editor at Canvas magazine. With over 20 years of experience spotlighting artists from the Arab world and advising global institutions, Myrna has been a driving force in shaping cultural narratives across the region. In this episode, we explore the foundation of identity, the role of heritage in creative work, and how to innovate without losing cultural depth. We dive into what it means to represent a region, support emerging talent, and build a legacy that resonates beyond borders. Myrna, welcome to the Bouguessa Voice, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I really wanted to have you today, and thank you so much. It really means a lot. I wanted to talk about Arab culture as an identity. And I'd love to start and dive in right away and talk about your upbringing and how your upbringing has brought you to where you are today.
Thank you, Faiza. And when you say Arab, I get excited. I was born in Beirut to Lebanese parents, and we came to the UAE following the Israeli invasion in 1982. It was a temporary plan that became permanent. I think that I attribute my love for and pride in Arab culture, and I'll take South Asia, Iran, and Turkey as well. Two things really: my parents and the UAE. My parents were, great travelers. Highly cultured people. They took us everywhere, but they also always, infused in us a pride in our roots. And the UAE, because I have, thanks to growing up here, I have friends from everywhere. So I was exposed to all these cultures as a child. But it's thanks to this multiculturality and this dynamism in the UAE that I feel enriched.
I totally get
things,
it. I have the same feeling, and I've been here for only 18 years. But I always say that I have never felt home as much as by living in the UAE. Like everyone feels they belong here. Nobody is like making you feel that you don't belong. And it's a very nice feeling to have, especially when you come from the experience of an Arab living in Europe and feeling that they're not welcome in a sense.
And there was a quote by Naguib Mahfouz. I don't know it verbatim, but he says, home is where any reason for you to leave ceases. So you don't feel like you need to leave. This is my home, 100%. I take a bullet for it.
Yeah.
I love this country. I love so many things about it. So I feel welcome. I feel home, and I take pride in this place very much.
And I think you're such, you have more than your Arab culture. You are carrying the Arab culture for so many of us. When did you start feeling the weight or the beauty of having this sort of responsibility of telling the story of the Arab culture?
I love your question. I have so much to say. I'm going to trace it back to some experiences as a child. Back in the day, we used to live in Deira, in the Hyatt Regency, because, they had furnished apartments and the plan was temporary. And we would always go to Al Ghurair Mall. Al Ghurair had a whole bunch of stores, and one of them was the Hallmark cards, and there was a rack with keychains.
I know where you're getting.
There was Catherine and Jennifer and Jane, and all of these names. And even as a child, I wondered, why don't they have our names? The other childhood experience.
I have goosebumps.
Yeah, you too.
I swear.
The other experience was. So London was a major stop, and so was Paris and different parts of the States, because my father studied there. And he had a clinic in London as well. And when we traveled, we didn't look Arab, or we didn't fit the stereotype of Arab, right? And so when, sales ladies or cashiers or wherever we would go would, converse with my parents, there was always a fascination. Then followed by, so where do you live? And then we would say, Dubai. Where's Dubai? The UAE. Where's the UAE? And so they would basically deduce it's part of Saudi or part of Iran. And then there was, but you speak English so well. and you speak Arabic? Oh, and you can manage in French? But there are camels and, you're Bedouins. So there was this disregard, and it became a thorn in my side. Zoom into much later, I would say in my 20s, when I started working. And I was working for an incredible magazine called Canvas, which focuses on art and culture from the region. So we did a lot of traveling to Europe and the US, to art fairs and biennials and so on. And there was always this derogatory way of looking at our part of the world. Like, it's incredible that we have an art scene. It's fascinating that we actually make art, which, in their opinion, was really inspired by the West, taught by the West. And that thorn, came back. As well, the post 9/11 world, when you were just stereotyped, just put in a container, and they viewed you in a certain way. So all this, and then I would say the climax for me was motherhood. You bring these kids into this world, and you want them to know who they are.
Yeah.
And how amazing where they are is from.
Yeah.
So all of this combined, made me become quite an activist. So I try. It is what I do today is my form of activism,
which is beautiful.
Protest. It's my way of asserting who I am, where I'm from, and it's not just for me and for my kids. It's for all of us.
I totally get it, and I mean, everything you're saying speaks so much to me, and it's true. You're right. We could actually speak about this all day long. My strong intention when I think about all of this is that I am trying to think of how not to compare us to the West and how to elevate ourselves according to our own standards.
We are incomparable.
It's like every other culture, right? Like, there should not be a comparison, but we tend to. And so I'm trying to just dissociate my culture, where I'm from, what I'm doing, and build my own standards. I love everything you said, and it's so true. It's so part of, I think, everyone's going to recognize themselves in this kind of stories. We've all gone through it. Going to a little souvenir shop and see all the keychains and wanting to buy something, but your name is not on there, or your family name or relative name is not there.
And the names on that rack, I mean, every week you would go. None were sold.
Because I'm talking about what I've seen in Europe, but you've seen it here, so it's making it even weirder.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure today there's all the names that should be there.
Yeah, they've diversified.
So yeah, I like this question. So you have this kind of imbued in yourself, this responsibility to represent the Middle East and their Arab identity and culture. Where do you find your creativity, your own expression in that?
Faiza, I like stories. I'm a little obsessed. I'm not kidding when I tell you, at any given time, there's a story in my head. Really, it's not an exaggeration. It's just the way that I am. And I found later in my adult life that we are, as Arabs, a culture of storytellers. You can hear it in our language. It's in everything you do.
It's so true.
And a story can be, they said. That's the story. That's my impetus. So telling them, hearing them, documenting them. And when I say documenting, yes, at the moment, this is what I do. I write and I publish books. And we have to keep telling stories. It's how you keep things alive.
And I think that's the way you actually get a beautiful message across the best way possible.
Yeah. I've said it before, and you know this. You can't forget a good story.
So true.
You can't unhear it. It's just forever. It's immortal, right? Why? Because of the way that it made you feel.
Exactly. There's emotion linked to the stories.
Yes. And we are, this is who we are.
I think I want to thank you on behalf of all of us for telling such beautiful stories about our culture and about what, how we do things in this part of the world. And you were telling me earlier about the fact that you're writing a book now for kids.
Yes,
Can you
it's
tell me
actually
more?
a series of books. So my firstborn is a girl. Her name is Noor. And one of the reasons why we called her Noor, well, two reasons. First of all, we believe that you become your name. Ism ala musamma. And I wanted a name that would very much reflect who she is and her roots. So Noor is born in the UAE. And the UAE is such an incredible diversity of cultures. We were keen on a name that would mean or does mean the same thing in multiple cultures relevant to here. So Noor means Noor in Arabic, Turkish, Farsi, Hindi, Urdu, all of them and more. We speak to our kids exclusively in Arabic, and they understand everything. We often joke that they're going to be, the best translators, but they don't speak to us in Arabic. A while ago, Noor started to come home from school and tell me about Nelson Mandela and Frida Kahlo and so many other fantastic, greats. And that thorn
came
pricked
back
again. But I wanted them to know more. Long story short, I developed a series called Noor's Heroes in English and Abtal Noor in Arabic. So they are an illustrated series of children's books focused on Arab greats.
Amazing.
From across different professions. We are actually at press right now. With the first 4, we've completed 9.
That's amazing.
It's taken 6 years. Blood, sweat, and tears. So far it's been entirely self-funded, with some small contributions, and it's been everything from copyright, trademark, design, editorial. Everything has been me, and I want to thank my husband who pushed me to do this. I never thought I would be a kids' book author, but this must be done.
That's amazing, because it ties in directly with the question I was asking you. And it shows that you really take this responsibility so seriously that even your personal project that has been in your heart for so long is actually part of that, kind of philosophy.
Yeah. But Faiza, it is on us.
It is, you're right.
It is really on us. There's no excuse today,
Yeah.
I mean, we all have a responsibility, but it's on us. It's on you to tell your kids, where they're from. It's on you to tell your kids this is a kind of Arabic food. It's on you.
Yeah.
I guess I fused a whole bunch of passions in one. My Arab roots, my love for writing, my love for stories.
Yeah, stories and culture.
Yeah. So, and I'm picking a lot of, known and unknowns. My husband, told me, بدك تشدي وترخي. You can't just, because in the beginning I was only going to focus on the dead ones. And he's like, that's really not cool. So you need to be, cool.
Yeah. Actually, this word is leading me to my next question. How cool is our generation that is really shedding light on the beauty of our culture? I feel that even the younger generation is, I don't know if this is a good thing to say, but it's making us cool. We know we're cool.
I think we're very cool.
But I think, on the eyes of the outside world, from other cultures, they are discovering us more because there is an unapologetic way of just being us and showing what it means. And if that is something very cultural, it's okay. And I think it's really exciting to watch.
Well, I think we've been cool for decades.
Yeah.
Colonization is one example. I think when you even go into realms like art and culture and architecture, you will find that the rest of the world, or the West, took so much from us. And that's fine, that's okay. But I'm just very concerned with correcting the narrative. This is my big thing. That you can take inspiration all you like, but don't for a second claim it as yours.
Yeah.
You took it from here. Let's, make
Yeah.
that clear. I do sense, and I agree with you, that there feels like a renewed appreciation for our roots. And I feel it increasingly among our generation, but also the younger ones. I'm proud and I'm happy, and it's about time. But I'm not satisfied, and I want more.
I agree. Yeah, you're right. So, in your experience, how can we protect cultural heritage without going into cliché? And I'm talking about creatives in general. I think that's something that I have been sensitive about when I started my brand.
I can give you some examples within the realm that I work in. I see some gorgeous interpretations and reinterpretations of elements from heritage. At the last design week in November, Al Joud Luta presented a couch and some tables. And they were called Al Fallāj. And I saw them, and I felt arrested. Al Fallāj is an irrigation system that Allah yarhamu Sheikh Zayed had implemented in Al Ain. So he basically greened a desert thanks to Al Fallāj. An irrigation system, after all these years, became a furniture line. And I was in awe. That's an example of Al Joud. Another example is the Moroccan artist. Her name is Myrna Ayad, who travels around Morocco, tribe by tribe, village by village. And she observes the way that the Moroccan women weave the materials, the patterns, and so on. And with them, she then creates or recreates contemporary installation. And I saw that at the Lyon Biennale, actually, and in Riyadh at the Misk Art Institute. Even, craft. I had a call recently with some colleagues. We were talking about how a lot of contemporary artists and designers are going back to our roots and, celebrating these aspects in a contemporary way. I think this is one way that we can do it, at least within my field.
I agree. I like the aspect of research, and kind of it becomes a beautiful journey and a beautiful story, I think, for these creatives, artists, furniture designers, product designers, who actually go back into their roots, do a research, understand the material, the way things were woven. A perfect example is also Latifa Said, whose bench we have here.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it while I'm talking to you, and then create a product that has so much contemporary flair to it, but there's a story to that product that makes it so special.
But Faiza, you mentioned this actually earlier before we started. You said that sometimes when you were working on a mood board about your dream house or whatever, you found that actually that house resembles your uncle's house.
Exactly.
So I think the trick is it's definitely in the younger generation, but it's what we feed them. It's in that generation that we need to invest and empower.
Empower and infuse that culture, those elements that might become an inspiration for something in the future. As creatives from our region, what are 3 ways, practical ways, we can use to express our heritage in a way that feels rich, honest, and current?
Well, I think that they do that anyway. Many of them do. But I'm going to flip your question.
Flip it.
And I'm going to tell you what they need. Support, support, support. Our creatives need to be celebrated. They need to be celebrated on podcasts, in publications, in exhibitions around the world. They need to be given residencies, education, training. We have to do everything in our power to support creatives. I fundamentally believe that they are the ones, they are our historians. I've often said that it is through the realm of art and culture that I found out more about my identity as an Arab. Through that, there were so many things I learned from visual art and from design that I didn't know. It wasn't information that I found in textbooks. And I think our creatives need to be supported at all costs.
You're right. And, it reminds me, I was invited to kind of be a judge for a graduation project for one of the fashion schools. And all the students had done such a deep research on their own identity. It could be related to their upbringing, their childhood, or their culture. And I loved that. I loved that they did this, they had this approach. And like you said, they are historians in that sense, that they actually take from their experience, their story, and ties in directly with the way you were mentioning earlier, that we have to infuse that in our children.
Yes.
And feed them that culture so that later on it becomes something of substance.
I think in line with, feeding our kids this kind of information is another really important aspect, and which I'm sure you'll agree with me on. We need to make them proud of their roots.
So true, yeah.
They need to stand up and defend it, right? And they need to preserve it, equally. I try and do it. My God, it's extremely difficult. But it's everything from when we're traveling and I want to tell my daughter something so no one understands. I speak in Arabic and I tell her, how lucky are you that you can understand another language? It's like a superpower. Use it. Even now, like when as she's learning more vocabulary, I'll tell her things like, did you know the root of that word is actually Arab? When we talk about ancient civilizations, because she's kind of there now, with the ancient Egyptians and so on, I'll tell her it's all here. It's in Palestine, it's in Iraq, it's in Egypt. And, there's the cedars of Lebanon. I mean, there's, incredible wealth here. So we need to keep them amazed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way to do that is, again,
telling the stories. Yeah.
Inshallah.
Very true. Inshallah. I'm so excited about your series of books now.
Me
I can't
too.
wait to get them for my daughter.
Thank you.
Talking about supporting emerging talents, actually, you mentioned it earlier. What are 3 ways you think artists can find that kind of support? Because I have been there when I started my career. And I was telling you earlier how I felt very isolated and I didn't know how to approach people. I didn't know. And the purpose of this podcast is, of course, to give that kind of a platform to people who don't know and who are a bit isolated. But what would be the advice you would give to the talents first? Then we'll talk about who can support, to find that kind of support.
As a basic, persevere. Second, I would tell them to rest assured that something will give, okay? Because we're in it now. We are growing. Some things are changing. So hang in there. I would also tell them, if I would talk to my younger self, talk to people. Try.
So true.
You have nothing to lose. Try. You might feel, I still feel intimidated sometimes when I walk into a gallery, but it doesn't stop me from asking a question. Ask, because you never know. Ask. You have nothing to lose.
I agree with you. That's totally the key, is to actually reach out to people and try as many times as necessary. in my experience, I'm an introvert. And I remember, reaching out to someone, not getting a response, and just wanted to give up because that one person did not give me attention. The key is to understand that people might be going through their own thing. They might be needing support themselves. While you're needing your support, they might be needing support for something else. So they might also be living in their own mind and focus on certain things at that point of time. Reach out to as many people as possible, people who inspire you, who, have done what you are doing, who are trying to do, who are, kind of at your level. I really feel that for me, the key was that is connecting with people during fashion weeks, going and speaking about what I do. And very often within a simple conversation with someone you don't know, something will come out.
Yes.
And like that person is going to tell you, oh, do you know this person? They're my friends. I'm going to introduce you. Give me your phone number. And then this leads to something that leads to something. And slowly you get to where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So really that point it's exactly my experience, and it made a huge difference for me.
Yeah.
I agree. What advice would you give someone torn between what they truly want to express and what the art world expects of them?
Forget the art world. Forget them.
Moving on.
I will always encourage someone to be honest with themselves.
And work hard, I think.
100%. But I think, my husband sometimes is always fascinated. He'll say, why don't you just take a break? And I tell him, it's not work.
It's passion.
100%.
And I know it's toxic
enviable.
Passion.
But it's enviable. So I would definitely say, always stay true to yourself.
Stay true to yourself.
I think we should also, I'm learning it increasingly in my 40s. Don't be upset. Tawakkali. Because there is a power that is greater than you, that is watching out for you. I really, really believe that.
So true.
I really believe that it's fate, and لا تكرهوا شيئا. It's okay.
It's the best advice you could give to someone that's starting, because there is such like a sensitivity when you start something and you're, finally put it out there, and you have this, fear of the perception, whether you are an artist or you're a creative of some sort. That is something that I have learned along the way, and today it's just come naturally, and I don't even think through it. As like patience is what's gonna get me to the best place. Because you have been the director of Art Dubai, so I just want to speak to that experience at this point. What has been some artwork that have really stood out? Do you have any stories that really made a huge impact? And what were these art pieces or these
Faiza,
artists?
I don't think you have the time. Look, is there one artwork? No, there are dozens. Is there one artist? No way, there are dozens. Is there one country? No. I've had a magical experience. And I think the highlight for me, really the ultimate highlight, was learning about and going to different countries in the Arab world, including Iran and Turkey, and engaging with artists, curators, designers, collectors. Just recently, as Iran was being bombed, my heart was being torn apart. Torn apart. I cannot tell you what a beautiful country it is, and the culture and the people. Oh my God. Of course, I feel the same. My heart bleeds for Gaza. And I think one thing that hurts me to my core, because of what I do, there is something called the Gaza Cultural Center.
Yes.
That was established by the Shawa family, a very famous, illustrious family from Gaza. And it was initiated by Rashad al-Shawa and his daughter, Layla, who was an artist. She passed away a few years ago. It's gone. And now it only exists as a memory. Some people might have a few visuals, okay, but what happens to something like this? Does it become a myth? Does it become, a legend? If you're going to erase these aspects of our culture, you're trying to say we never existed, and I will be damned. So I went to these places and I saw, and I was awed. If you come to my house, which inshallah you will, you'll see the region in my house. From the carpets to the art, to my ceramics, to everything. And that's, I think, my biggest takeaway working at Canvas and working at Art Dubai is I got that access.
All the stories.
And I wanna tell everyone what I saw.
You're already starting with your series,
Inshallah.
but you've done a lot. I want to talk about Assouline. Tell us the story of how this happened. How did you start with this opportunity?
I was in the hospital with my mother, Allah yarhamha. She was in the ICU, and I was in there with her. She used to frequent the hospital a lot. She was ill. And I was working. I got an email announcing that the Assouline store in Dubai Mall is opening. Within 10 minutes, I contacted the right person who was handling the Assouline store, and I said, I need to talk to you. I've always been an Assouline fan, and I was that woman at the airport with the boxes and boxes. And I've always loved to give the gift of a book. I met with Prosper and Martine Assouline, proposed to them. They said they were mandated, to open in the UAE with a view to publish books on the region. So I proposed 7 books, ideas to them. 6 were related to art and culture, and 1 was on Sheikh Zayed. And I remember Prosper said to me, Myrna, we've been hearing about this man for decades, and there's 100 books on him. Why do you want to do a book on him? I said, look, I don't want to talk about the leader or the president or the founder. I want to talk about the man.
The inspiration.
Yes. And he said, okay, how are you going to do it? I said, I'm going to talk to his kids and his grandkids. طبعا, no plan. I figured, I know a few people, I'll manage. And he said, you know what, let's do it. I started with a Gmail address. No website, nothing. Hi, my name is Myrna. I want to do this book on Sheikh Zayed. Da, 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 da. That's the trick, right? You get to one, and then the doors open. And then COVID happened.
Why would it be simple?
Yeah, exactly. Which royal are you going to meet in COVID? You know what? I met them all. Because obviously they do background checks on you. So they knew I was legit, right? And a few people knew me from, my experience in the art world. And then I was in Abu Dhabi all the time doing these interviews with the kids and the grandkids and the people, government officials who knew him, those who didn't. At the same time, COVID, IVF, pregnancy. I got a call from one of Sheikh Zayed's granddaughters, when the book was out. Because the book came out when my son Khaled was born. They're like, it seems like you had 2 babies. I'm like, yes, I might have had triplets as well. So there was that. And I'm so proud of this book, honestly. I'm so proud of it because I grew up here, as you know, and so he's, astaghfirullah, but he's alive. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
And I really look at him in a kind of saintly way.
Yeah.
But
also like someone close in a sense. Like
yeah, he was my dad too. He's my Baba Zayed. My daughter, when I was working at the time, she would call him Sheikh Baba. Because she saw me with archival images and, drum scans and papers in my office. And I owe him. I really owe him.
We all do.
Yes, we all do. But so this was my way of saying, thank you, Emirat, I love you. It's
your way to give
my
back.
little way, yeah.
Yeah.
So then after that, Assouline came back and said, we want to do a book on Dubai. And I said, sure. So that essay was really a love letter to my city. And then I told them, guys, what about Abu Dhabi? You need to do Abu Dhabi. It's like it's a majestic capital. So that's just been released a couple of weeks ago.
Mabruk.
Thank you, barak fiki.
I think it all comes from this urge, like an urge that you cannot resist. Nothing can beat, like not your lack of experience, not your lack of knowledge, not your lack of, connection. It's an urge that I'm going to make it happen no matter what. And that's, how you started this. And it's so inspiring to actually hear this story. Can you tell us an example or story, a moment when you saw art or fashion or, stories reshape the narrative of Arab identity?
I wouldn't say there was one moment. Back in the day when I was working at Canvas, the publisher and editor-in-chief, Ali Khadra, who is actually my maternal uncle, as museums were developing acquisitions committees, as auctions were being held around the world, as more people were buying art from our region, they filed art from our region as falling under either gender-based, conflict-inspired, that's all they saw.
So let's talk about this.
Yeah. And guess what? Their art is the same. So Ali initiated a talk that took place in Miami at Art Basel, in London at Frieze, in Art Basel Basel. And the title of the talk was Gender, Wars, and Chadors. Is that all there is to Middle Eastern art? And it was like a slap in the face to everybody. Obviously, they all came because it feeds the narrative.
Yeah.
They all came only to find out, that's not all there is. So I would say this was one
Pivotal.
shift.
Yeah.
I think another shift was finding out, because for the longest time, there was a general belief that we didn't really have an art practicing or art making or art engaging, history. And my God, what a modernist movement we had. Faiza, the stories are there. They're delicious. At the last Venice Biennale, there was 3 or 4 galleries filled with Arab modernism. Filled. Museums around the world are scrambling. You see Sultan Al-Qasimi, who owns and runs the Berjil Art Foundation, sending his modernist collections around the world. People are astounded. So there was that shift, but in line with that shift is also a realization that we had our own style. We had our own philosophy. We had our own approach and manners.
I love how this is something that's becoming stronger and stronger in how the Arab identity is asserting itself in a sense, and it's just standing out as its own. Understand it or not, it's not my problem. This is who I am. This is what I show, what I create. And it's beautiful to watch. It's really beautiful. There's a question that I like to ask. You know how they say, do you remember the time when what you have now was a dream or you used to dream of? And was it something that happened to you? I like to use this little routine to actually take myself back to when I used to dream of what I have today and meditate and appreciate the moment. So if you were to go back in time to a moment when you dreamt of being where you are today, when would that be? Who were you? And what would you tell yourself?
I mean, as I mentioned, I never imagined I was going to be working in the art world, as an editor and a cultural programmer. But I can tell you, I've always wanted to be a mom, and I've always felt, maternal. I'm not saying that I'm a fantastic mom. I push and I shove every day.
Sounds like you are.
No. Oh, trust me. I mean, I yell.
I mean, you have a very good...
and I lose my mind. But I adore my kids and I believe in children. This I know. I always wanted to be a mother. Alhamdulillah, 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 million marra that I have Noor and Khalid and their father. I'm grateful to him too.
Thank you so much, Myrna, for being here with me
Thank you,
today.
Faiza.
It was such a nice conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
really appreciate.
Grateful to you as well. And so many congratulations on this initiative.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see the rest of the Arabs you're going to feature.
Thank you.